Hello, I'm Dr. Katherine Horton. This is a rather urgent update, a live war update, as I just got to know that basically I had to take all my videos offline. All the videos in German where my colleague Melanie Vritschan appeared. So that's, that series was called Techno-Kriminalermittler. It was the German version of Techno Crime Fighters Forum. And I was asked to take them offline by Melanie because she's being blackmailed by Hospital Erasmus, who have kidnapped her baby. And they don't want to release the baby because they're trying to smear her repeatedly as delusional or mad. And this is a criminal operation run by Hospital Erasmus in Brussels. And basically what had happened is that they have taken away her child on the very first day, less than 24 hours after the cesarean section, after the cesarean delivery of her baby. I was present during that time, and ostensibly they triggered the taking away of her baby. Well, they lied their head off why they took the baby away and what actually happened. The first lie was that Melanie herself asked to be put into psychiatry. That was the story I heard when I arrived at the hospital the day after the cesarean section. That turned out to be a lie, which I debunked on the spot by just forcing the doctor to come with me and talk to Melanie, who immediately said that's a lie. Then the second lie was that Melanie said to the night nurse after I left that she heard voices. I asked who the night nurse was and no one could tell me, so that lie was debunked pretty much straight away. And then to Melanie, they said that they thought she was mad based on a conversation I had with the midwife during the cesarean section. And what I'd said during the cesarean section is that I drew the attention to the midwife, to the fact that Melanie still had an illegal implant in her throat. I had personally analyzed the other half that had already been taken out of Melanie's throat in a specialist lab in Switzerland at the Paul Scherrer Institute. And I had already published the results. We already knew that it was completely made up of blocks of iron and titanium fibers and other strange synthetic materials, and this was used to strangulate her by remote control. Now, one half has been removed, the second half was still in, and during the cesarean section I could see, and I had the impression that Melanie couldn't breathe because of it. She had already told me that she's sleeping on her back. She can't breathe with this device in her throat. And I could see that she wasn't comfortable. So I said to the midwife, you know, if anything happens, any emergency during the cesarean section, and, you know, perhaps something needs to be pushed down the air pipe, you need to know that there's an obstruction. That's all I said. After the cesarean section, the midwife had interrogated me about my work. I told her about the investigative team and that I was working in the matter of investigating other implants, not just the implant in Melanie's throat, but other microchip implants that were found in victims, mostly female victims, all throughout Europe and the US. Now, this is all the truth, and then what happened is that the next day, they forced several so-called psychiatric assessments on Melanie. Melanie wasn't even conscious during this conversation. She didn't even say a word. So, based on they used my words to trigger so-called psychiatric assessments. In the first one, which lasted 15 minutes or thereabouts, less than 20 minutes, Melanie confirmed everything I said. In the second one, she talked to 3 pedopsychiatrists, and they again, I think that was slightly longer by 5 minutes or so, but again, she confirmed everything she said. She had all the evidence for it on her laptop, they refused to see it. Then they took her baby away, lying to Melanie, claiming that they thought that the baby had jaundice and had developed jaundice after the birth. Well, you're either born with jaundice, you know, or you haven't got it, but that was bullshit. Melanie said that the child didn't look jaundiced. Nevertheless, they took the child away and they pretended that they're doing medical tests, but actually they stole the child and locked her up in the neonatal unit. After that, they dragged Melanie off at midnight and interrogated her at another hospital, which is actually illegal. It's illegal to separate a mother from her child and take the mother to another facility. That's actually illegal. But they did it nevertheless and interrogated Melanie between midnight and 2 a.m. by somebody you know, who claimed to be a psychiatrist, after which Melanie was locked into a holding cell, into a restraining cell. She was not kept in a hospital bed. She was interrogated at a table, not in a hospital bed, and this was just the day after her cesarean section. The next day, she was taken back to Hospital Erasmus. I was lied to. I was not allowed to see Melanie. And at the time, I didn't notice. I was told to go down to the A&E unit where Melanie was being delivered back. But I was told I can see her. That was a lie. Down there, I was told that I'm not allowed to see her for several hours, which I suspect was also a lie, because what possible reason could there be? And later on, it turned out that the reason why I was not allowed to see Melanie was because she had again been locked into a holding cell without even a bed, with just a mattress on the floor. So it was a CIA torture chamber, a CIA-style torture chamber, I should say, because Belgian intelligence have their own torture chambers. And that was the story. Then they forbade the father, the grandfather, so the father of Melanie, the grandfather of the child, from seeing the baby. They forbade anybody from seeing the baby. And as we were trying to work with Melanie to prepare her court case, they forbade us from seeing Melanie, leading up to the court case. During the court case, which was, I think, 7 days after they took the baby away, or less than 7 days, 6 days, the judge actually released Melanie because there were no grounds, by the admission of Hospital Erasmus psychiatric staff themselves, that there were no grounds, no indication of any mental illness. Thank fuck, I would like to say. But nevertheless, this was on the, Melanie's baby was taken away on the 19th of October, after the birth was on the 18th of October. The judgment was on the Wednesday after that, right? And ever since, Melanie's baby, since the 19th of October, has been kept hostage by Hospital Erasmus in Brussels, by the neonatal unit, who I must say must be run by criminals. Then, begrudgingly, they allowed Melanie to see her baby, but only 3 hours per week. Now, that in itself is torture. All right, this is extra intentional, premeditated traumatizing of the baby and the mother. They forbade Melanie from breastfeeding. They refused, even when Melanie was in the psychiatric unit, a floor above the baby, they refused to take the breast milk down and feed the baby with it. They refused. Then they refused to grant Melanie permission to breastfeed the child. And eventually, by now, she can't breastfeed the child anymore. So, yes, the baby is still being held by this criminal unit in Hospital Erasmus, Brussels, and they keep blackmailing the child. Now, Melanie has produced, we prepared an entire court bundle. There was my statement. Well, the judge was not shown my statement, even though I was one of the key witnesses. And after that, the judge extended, so basically the judge gave permission to hold the child for 30 days. Then the judge extended it by another 30 days. So the child has been held for 60 days, kidnapped by Hospital Erasmus and by this criminal enterprise. I still have to establish if the judge is in on it, the youth judge, or not. That depends on what evidence has been given to the judge, but that is still under investigation. But for sure, there's enough evidence to say that there's a criminal operation going on at Hospital Erasmus, Brussels, in the psychiatric unit and the neonatal unit. And the gynecology unit also refused to protect Melanie's health by allowing her to be carted off for this, pseudoscientific so-called psychiatric assessment between midnight and 2 a.m. So this is what we're dealing with. Now, this is an ongoing saga. There will be apparently yet another court case. The hospital is now threatening to take the child away and put it into a care home. This is completely illegal. This is child kidnap conducted by Hospital Erasmus, Brussels. Okay. So this is what we're dealing with. Now, I received a note from Melanie that she wishes that all previous episodes of Crime Fighters Forum in German are taken private on YouTube. And I have complied with that, which is why all previous episodes are now not viewable anymore. However, I am extremely annoyed about this, I have to say, because I consider this to be criminal sabotage of an investigative work. We are not just working, I'm not just working in the case of Melanie. This is about revealing crimes against humanity, because Melanie is not the only victim in Brussels. I have spoken to another victim, and I'm aware of many more victims in Belgium itself. So what they are doing is, with they, I mean the Belgian intelligence specifically, and Hospital Erasmus, is they are sabotaging the disclosure, the needed disclosure about crimes against humanity being conducted by secret services in Belgium, basically. And this in itself is a crime. So anybody who is blackmailing one of my team members into, taking vital information offline is guilty of a crime. This is the crime of blackmail, in addition to child kidnap, and in addition to grievous bodily harm of Melanie over several years in Belgium, and also bodily harm of me in Belgium, because I was also attacked with directed energy weapons in her flat, as well as on all Belgian roads. So I am extremely agitated, extremely angry. I have complied because I had to. I complied with Melanie's request, but what I will also do is, from now on, absolutely every single episode I publish, which is, disclosure, certainly the Techno Crime Fighters Forum in English, but also henceforth all episodes of the German version, which will continue, in fact they will now escalate, of Techno-Kriminalermittler, will be released on YouTube on the the Creative Commons license. This means you can download it and you can upload it to your own channel. In fact, I ask you to. In fact, I ask you to even create channels that you otherwise maybe don't post to, just to upload these things. Because basically we need to spread the news. I am now in hiding. I'm also being physically attacked, not just because of my work. The physical attacks against me started way before, but they've certainly intensified because of my work. But I am not a person who is ever going to be cowed or blackmailed into anything. I do not intimidate. In fact, every single time these criminal bastards attack us, we need to escalate this whole thing. So basically, the points of escalation will be the fact that every single time I'm online, I will mention Hospital Erasmus, Brussels, where I have witnessed the criminal kidnap of a newborn child from my colleague. I have personally witnessed doctors lying to my face, and those doctors will be part of a criminal investigation. In fact, Hospital Erasmus will be part of a bigger criminal investigation, because the entire operation was so well oiled and so smooth. And in fact, the pediatrician has told me that children are taken away there regularly. This woman told it to my face. She said, "Why are you getting so upset? This is not the first time this happens. Children are being taken away from mothers all the time here." Where my reaction is, "Oh, really? Well, congratulations, because you've just opened a criminal investigation with that statement, and it will continue." So I ask all investigators specifically to look into Hospital Erasmus. This is a university hospital, okay? So Belgian and Brussels universities and their medical departments are also under investigation. There will be ties. All the professors that have ties with Hospital Erasmus Brussels need to be investigated, because they are likely witnesses, if not perpetrators themselves. And I also suspect very strongly that there's a connection to the implanting of children in Belgium. So Hospital Erasmus might very well be involved in the illegal implanting of children. This is my suspicion, and I think it has to be investigated. And I think there's reason to believe that they might be tied to pedophile rings operational in Belgium and in Brussels in particular. And that's because they are rather smooth, and I seem to see a very well-oiled chain connecting not just doctors, but also social workers and judges to the taking of children, the illegal taking of children, okay? So this is big business worldwide, and these are very serious concerns. So this is the situation, people. I want to draw everybody's attention to, I say it one more time, to the psychiatric unit at Hospital Erasmus and the neonatal unit at Hospital Erasmus, and the doctors leading those units. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, first of all, what we're going to do is that all episodes of Techno Crime Fighters Forum, the English version, and all episodes of the German version, Techno-Kriminalermittler, will be under the Creative Commons license. And I ask you to download them, and I ask you to re-upload them to your channels, okay? So I will also immediately show you how you can download these episodes. So let me just share my screen and show you. If you go to, you can find these things everywhere, but if you go to onlinevideoconverter.com/mp3-converter, you can paste any YouTube link in here, select the format, you can download it as an audio podcast to put on your MP3 player or iPod, or as an MP4 format, and then you just click start. This will grab the video, and then you can click download and download the video. This works beautifully. Sometimes this particular link is sabotaged and it doesn't work, in which case you can use clipconverter.cc do the same thing, paste the URL, press continue, and then download the file. So I'm asking you to do this. I also apologize for the atrocious quality of the video. That is probably hard to watch. Let me just quickly check if you guys can actually hear me, because last time my audio was sabotaged. So far, I cannot see anybody complaining about not being able to hear my audio. There is one live war update where I sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks, and that's actually audio sabotage. So you can check it out, what that sounds like. Okay, otherwise things seem to be fine. So please download it and re-upload it. And the entire idea behind that is, should they arrest me, or should they blackmail me, or do whatever they want, you know, with me, there's no way to wipe this information off the internet. Okay, so this is what the Creative Commons license is for. I stand by absolutely everything I said. I'm speaking to the best of my knowledge always, and I'm trying to say the truth to the best of my knowledge. If I get things wrong, it's not because I'm lying to you, but because either I was tricked or I was misled based on the information I've seen, but I'm speaking, you know, in good faith, and I'm trying to uncover crimes here that are affecting, I know for sure, hundreds of thousands of people across Europe. So this is extremely important work. So, you know, that's what we're dealing with. So a way around this sort of blackmail is that there are other people who, you know, the intelligence agencies don't have any power over. So if you're not in Europe, there's even more incentive that you re-upload these videos, because then European judges can't get at you, you know, and they still have to work a bit harder. Right. So this is it. The second thing I would like to announce is that even though 20 videos with over 1,000 views each, some of them had over 2,000 views, have been now taken offline. And, you know, unfortunately, it's beyond my power, and I can't, you know, I'm not allowed to show them. I will continue talking about this. You will hear more about everything we said so far. And in fact, we're taking it to the next level, because the German version will become a platform where I'll be interviewing whistleblowers from all across Europe. There are many, many people I met who are dealing with judicial corruption in Switzerland and Germany and elsewhere. I have spoken to activists who are fighting child kidnapping, which seems to be conducted by the judiciary and so-called youth services and social services that seem to be in deep capture by organized crime, running pedophile networks. So I've spoken to those, and there will be more revelations from them. I'll also be speaking to people who are victims of other crimes. For example, I have seen mounting evidence that people are being murdered in hospitals. I suspect that this is either the testing of weapons, the testing of toxins, and you know, other bio-warfare mechanisms. And it's also, I think, part of Agenda 21 and the killing, the UN Agenda 21, of killing off, you know, a large fraction of the world population. So these are all the topics, and we will be looking into them. And what I ask you to do is really take this seriously and recognize for what, you know, this for what it is. It is a private criminal investigation that is uncovering the biggest crimes we have witnessed since the Nazi concentration camps. This is a global Holocaust. It's in full swing, and it's accelerating. And unless you personally take steps to help us, this will not, you know, this will actually kill us all. I'm pretty sure about that. So people who have been fighting this long before I came on the scene have already been murdered. A very prominent victim was Dr. Ronnie Kilder. She was the formerly the chief medical officer of Finland. And she has been, I would say, publicly executed, because she was a public person. She was publicly executed by Norwegian intelligence in 2015. February 2015. This came after she has been fighting for, I think, 15 years or more to bring these crimes to light. She was blowing the whistle on the use of directed energy weapons, on the covert implanting of people through vaccines, and much, much more. Okay, and she was brutally murdered. She was assaulted with directed energy weapons, and she was given excruciating, horrific pain. Then she was taken to a hospital, to the wrong hospital, actually. She wanted to go to another hospital, but she was taken to another one against her will. There she was assaulted by a doctor, punched in the kidney so that she started passing blood. And doctors refused to treat her, refused to come near her, which makes me believe that she might have been infected with a pathogen, and doctors were afraid of catching it from her. And yes, and eventually she managed to get out of that hospital and flee to Finland, where she died from her injuries. Okay, so that was Dr. Ronnie Kilder. You can still find interviews with her online. She also revealed documents showing that the NSA and GCHQ are building up an electronic assault and weapon system using satellites, microwave towers, and that they can assault people with directed energy weapons using helicopters, and also weapons placed at neighbors. I have tweeted the links, and they have been tweeted on many times. But she actually, in her interview, she shows the document which she made public in, I think it was a conference in the year 2000 in Helsinki, and I think it was called the International Conference for Military Medicine, where she spoke. Okay. So that's the truth, people. As I'm in hiding, I'm talking to the people here locally, and I come across many, many cases. Really, virtually every second person I talk to, I discover that they have already been assaulted with directed energy weapons, or somebody in their family has been illegally implanted. And the scale of these crimes are absolutely staggering. So this is it for now. I just wanted to let you know what's happening and why the videos are not online. I'll be also posting a video in German, relaunching the German version of Techno Crime Fighters Forum. And what I'll try to do is it's really hard work, but I'll try to get everybody who I do an interview with in German to try to get their message also across in English. Okay, but the entire German series, Techno-Kriminalermittler, will be continuing. In fact, it will be, relaunching with an extra oomph now. But because of what has happened and because of what continues to be done to my colleague, Melanie Vritschan, in Belgium, I ask you to step up your efforts. I ask you to follow us even more closely, to retweet everything that we are putting out there, to spread these YouTube videos, and especially reach out to people who haven't heard about this, okay? Please, it is very, very important. Really, I can't tell you. I mean, there are examples here where I just by speaking about these crimes to people who had no idea, they discovered that their own family members might have been actually, or might still be a victim of the intelligence agencies without knowing. So these programs are absolutely vast, absolutely vast. Being chipped and being stalked and being shot at with directed energy weapons is just the first part of the program, and the final stage of the program is the Holocaust. Okay, so being chipped means that you have a little beacon signal from where you can be shot at absolutely everywhere, and this electromagnetic assault weapon system using microwave towers, so cell towers, satellites, and mobile directed energy units can take you out wherever you are at the speed of light. So that's what this is about. I know that I am implanted. In fact, they have been torturing me for the last couple of days. I have got an entire grid of chips all on my scalp, in my forehead. The injuries you can see is actually, what this is inflammation from a chip being accessed on my forehead. And you can just see how many chips I have on my forehead. I receive shots to the forehead, partially to damage my brain, partially to access these chips. And these chips are then passing a current across the scalp using a network, but also, I suspect, into the brain. And it makes functioning under such circumstances nigh on impossible sometimes. So I have to continue working. I have to go now. So this is it for now. I will continue posting. Please spread the message, and please support us. Bye for now, and you'll be hearing more from me soon.